الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين ومن اتبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين أما بعد. To proceed. Today's lesson بإذن الله تعالى, we want to speak about a particularly interesting subject, and that is the issue of المفاعيل الخمسة, or the 5 types of مفاعيل objects in Arabic grammar. The title therefore of our lesson is المفاعيل, which is the plural of المفعول, the object. المفاعيل الخمسة, the 5. And note that الخمسة here is al-mu'annath, and the reason why it is al-mu'annath female is because it qualifies al-mafa'il, which of course is al-mudhakkar, a male word. So where do we begin therefore? We know from our previous studies that in al-jumlatul fi'liyatu, the third aspect, which isn't mandatory, required, unless al-fi'lu, the verb, is what we call al-muta'addi, transitive, i.e. one that takes an object. So in al-jumlatul fi'liyya, the third part is called al-maf'ulu bihi. So that therefore is our first type of al-maf'ul. And that's one that we all know, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala, familiar with, al-maf'ulu bihi. So if we mention by way of example, and we say kataba al-waladu risalatan, kataba al-waladu risalatan, we know that here kataba is fi'lun madin, al-waladu is al-fa'ilu marfu'un, and risalatan is al-maf'ulu bihi mansubun. So in that instance, a very simple example of al-jumlatul fi'liyya, we have al-maf'ulu bihi, which is risalatan. All of these will be explained in more detail, inshallah ta'ala. The first and perhaps the easiest one to understand. The second type of al-maf'ul is called al-maf'ulu al-mutlaqu. Al-maf'ulu al-mutlaqu, it relates to when we want to emphasize the action of the al-fi'lu, the verb. For example, if we say daraba darban, he hit, hitting, that part darban is what we call al-maf'ulu al-mutlaq. Its purpose, or one of its functions rather, is that it emphasizes the meaning of al-fi'lu, the verb itself. That's why in the ayah وَكَلَّمَ اللَّهُ مُوسَى تَكْلِيمًا, takliman, that is al-maf'ulu al-mutlaq, and the meaning of it is that Allah Azza wa Jalla kallama, he spoke to Musa alayhi salam takliman, speaking, meaning there is no question, no doubt regarding how Allah Azza wa Jalla spoke. He spoke to him directly. Again, as I mentioned, all of these will be explained in more detail in the following lessons, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. That is the second al-maf'ulu. The third al-maf'ulu is called al-maf'ulu fihi. And again, this type of al-maf'ulu, we have already encountered it, but its was mentioned with a different name, and that is ظروف الزمان. ظروف الزمان المفعول فيه, and it relates to the object of time, or an object that relates to when the action al-fi'lu took place. So if we say, for example, خرج الولد من البيت يوما. خرج الولد من البيت يوما, the boy exited from the house يوما, one day. That day part, يوما, there is mansubun, and the reason why it's mansubun, because it represents the time in which that action took place. It's not particularly complicated, al-maf'ulu fi, and as I said, we have already mentioned it in the context of dhurufu az-zamani. The fourth type of maf'ulu is called al-maf'ulu ma'ahu. Ma'ahu. Al-maf'ulu ma'ahu. This type of al-maf'ulu is perhaps the most difficult to understand. And the reason being is because there is no direct English equivalent. It relates to the object of what we call accompaniment. What does that mean? It means, for example, if you say that you walked along the street, in English, if it was said that, so in order to get to your destination, you walked along the street. In Arabic, we could say tamshi wa shari'a, tamshi wa shari'a, or tasiru wa shari'a, meaning you traveled or you walk, wa shari'a. That al-maf'ulu al-shari'a, which means the street, in Arabic, it represents what accompanied you whilst you walked or traveled. Of course, in reality, a street doesn't accompany you when you walk. Rather, as we say in English, you walk along the street. But in Arabic, there is an al-maf'ulu called al-maf'ulu ma'ahu that represents the object that accompanied you when you perform that action. It's called al-maf'ulu ma'ahu. And if that example doesn't make the matter clear, then inshallah ta'ala in our following lessons, when we discuss it in more detail, it will become apparent. But for now, accept that it is al-maf'ulu ma'ahu, which means the object of accompaniment. And remember that example, that tasiru wa shari'a, that you traveled wa shari'a, along, and that's in square brackets because of course that's understood, it's not explicitly mentioned, that you traveled washari'a, along the street. That's the fourth. The fifth and the final type of al-maf'ulu is called al-maf'ulu li ajlihi. Al-maf'ulu li ajlihi. Now, what does al-maf'ulu li ajlihi mean? It represents al-maf'ul, the object, which is the reason why you perform that action. For example, if you say hadartu ad-darsa, I attended ad-darsa, ikraman lil-ilmi, I attended ad-darsa, the lesson, ikraman, and that's al-maf'ulu li ajli. Ikraman means respect, meaning out of respect, lil-ilmi, for knowledge. So again, it will be an ismun in most instances, and it will be mansubun, or fi mahalli nasbin, or in a position of being mansubun if it is not a direct ismun. Another example would be, for example, like in the ayah in Surah Al-Qasas, فَخَرَجَ مِنْهَا خَائِفًا يَتَرَقَّبُ. Allah Azza wa Jalla mentioned that Musa alayhi salam kharaja minha, meaning when he exited from Egypt, kharaja minha khaifan yataraqqab, that he exited khaifan, خائفا, in fact there are two there, but خائفا here represents المفعول لأجله, that he exited خائفا, in a state of fear. That was the reason that prompted him to exit. So we have 5 different types of المفاعيل. المفعول به, the one that you're most familiar with, is a direct object. And I should mention that all of these are of course mansubun if they are a single ism or a dual or a plural. Al-maf'ulu bihi is the first one. Al-maf'ulu al-mutlaq, that is used for emphasis or to specify an amount. The third is al-maf'ulu fihi, represents the object when the action was performed. Al-maf'ulu ma'ahu is the object of accompaniment, and al-maf'ulu li-ajlihi is the object which represents the reason for the action taking place. And we will, inshallah ta'ala, explain each of these different types of mafa'il during the course of the following lessons. The first, therefore, is al-maf'ulu bihi. Now we will be, inshallah ta'ala, familiar with al-maf'ulu bihi. Why? Because we mentioned it when we introduced al-jumlatul fi'liyah, and it's used either ithbatan or nafyan, when we want to affirm something or negate something. For example, if we say the child drank the milk, how would we say that? Shariba. Shariba, the child is at-tiflu. At-tiflu, the milk is al-halib. Right. Al-halib. So we know therefore that shariba is fi'l madin mabniyun al-fathi. At-tiflu is the fa'ilun marfu'un وعلامة رفعه الضمة الظاهرة على آخره. Al-halib is al-maf'ulu bihi. So we know it's al-maf'ulu bihi, therefore it must be mansubun. And وعلامة نصبه will be علامة نصبه الفتحة الظاهرة على آخره. So it therefore becomes shariba at-tiflu al-haliba. Now, note that this is a statement of affirmation. The al-maf'ulu bihi is what we call al-maf'ulu as-sarih. Al-maf'ulu as-sarih. And that's important. Why? Because it's the first type of as-sarihu. It's the first type of al-maf'ulu bihi, where your object is what we call as-sarih, apparent, it's clear. Al-halib here is an ismun, it's mansubun. The indicator of it being mansubun is al-fathatu al-zahiratu ala akhiri, and that therefore is considered to be al-maf'ulu as-sarih, and it's our first type. If we wanted to negate this, how do we negate shariba? Right, we place ma before it and it becomes ma shariba at-tiflu al-haliba, meaning that the child did not drink al-haliba. Ma shariba at-tiflu al-haliba. And of course we could negate it with lam or lan, but that is only for al-mudari'u. That therefore is the first type of al-maf'ulu that can be al-maf'ulu bihi, right? So the first type is al-maf'ulu as-sarih. And that's quite simple to understand, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. What therefore is the second type of al-maf'ulu bihi? It can be a damirun which is muttasilun. It can be a damirun which is متصل. For example, if I said سأعدتك في درسك حسنا. Here الكاف is our المفعول به, and that is, as we know, الضمير المتصل. So that's our second type. الضمير المتصل. What does it mean therefore? ساعد means he helped or he assisted. ساعدت means I helped or assisted. ساعدتك means I helped you, single male. في, as we know, is a حرف جر. درسي is our اسم مجرور, and ك again is الضمير المتصل. If we're therefore to perform al-i'rab of this sentence, what would we say? We would say that ساعد is فعل ماض. It is مبني على السكون. We know that. Why? لاتصال, because it is connected to التاء هنا. And the تاء here is ضمير متصل. It is مبني على الضم في محل رفع. Why? Because it is a فاعل. So it is في محل رفع, being the فاعل. Al-kaf هنا, which is what we want to concentrate upon, is again ضمير متصل. It's a connected ضمير. It is مبني على الفتح, and it is في محل نصب. It is في محل نصب, and that too is considered to be المفعول به. It is المفعول به. ساعدتك, I assisted you. في, in, we know في is حرف جر. درسي is therefore اسم مجرور. It is also مضاف, and الكاف هنا is the ضمير متصل مبني على الفتح, and it is في محل جر, and it's in the position of being مجرور. Why? Because it is مضاف إليه. Therefore سألتك في درسك means I assisted you in درسك, your lesson. الضمير المتصل is very common. Attaching a pronoun onto the end of a verb to represent al-maf'ul bihi is a very common practice. Fortunately, it's not difficult to understand, as is evident here. And there are numerous other examples that we could mention, but inshallah ta'ala that should be sufficient in order to convey the function of ad-damiru al-muttasilu in, or acting as al-maf'ulu bihi. Third type of al-maf'ulu bihi is where we have ad-damiru al-munfasilu. We have ad-damiru, a pronoun, which is disconnected. So the second was al-muttasilu, the third is al-munfasilu, the one which is disconnected. So take, for example, the ayah that we read continuously in Surah Al-Fatiha. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين Hassan, where is ad-damiru al-munfasilu? Here. It is إياك. And this is quite interesting, إياك. Because the grammarians either describe this as they say ad-damiru al-barizu. So they describe all of it as ad-damiru, and of course you can attach any noun to the end, so it can be iyyaka, iyyaki, iyyaya, like the ayah wa iyyaya farhabun. Or so they either describe it all as a damiru, or they say that iyya here, the iyya part is the damiru, and al-kafuna, they said that al-kafu al-khitab, that al-kafu is al-khitab for the purpose of addressing. However, the point to note is that iyyaka here and this ayah represents al-maf'ulu bihi. It is the object. The verb is na'budu. We na'budu, we worship. The fa'ilun is mustatir, is hidden. Taqdiruhu, it's assumed to be nahnu. So if we were to perform the i'rabun, we would say that iyyaka ad-damiru al-barizu. Ad-damiru al-barizu في محل نصب مفعول به مقدم. في محل نصب, it is in a position of being mansubun. It's a مفعول به مقدم, and it's been brought forward, because as we know, the ordinary position of al-maf'ul bihi is after the fa'ilun. Kataba al-waladu kitaban. Kataba fi'lun. Al-waladu fa'ilun. Kitaban al-maf'ul bihi. The maf'ul bihi usually comes after the fa'ilun. Here, it's muqaddam, it's been brought forward, and that's for a specific reason. Na'budu is al-fi'lu al-mudari'u. It's the present tense fi'lun. It's marfu'un. Wal-fa'ilu mustatirun, and the doer is mustatir, and it's assumed to be nahnu. And we have a waw, and then we have iyyaka, which is the same. الضمير البارز في محل نصب مفعول به مقدم. And then نستعين again is الفعل المضارع. It is مرفوع, and its fa'il is mustatir. But the point to note is that in both instances, iyyaka here and iyyaka here, they have been brought forward, i.e. they precede the al-fi'lu and al-fa'il. And the reason for that is that tawqid wal-hasr. It's for the purpose of emphasis and restricting the matter, meaning only you, to the exclusion of all others, meaning only you, Allah Azza wa Jalla, na'budu, do we worship, and only you, to the exclusion of all others, nasta'in, do we seek assistance. So iyyaka therefore is the third type of al-maf'ulu ad-damiru al-munfasilu. Is the third type of al-maf'ulu bihi, which again is not particularly complicated to understand, insha'Allah ta'ala. The fourth type of al-maf'ulu bihi, and this is now what we say, it's ghayru sarih, it's not sarih, it's not apparent, it doesn't manifest itself in an ismun, in a noun. The fourth type is what we call al-masdaru al-mu'awwalu, and that's a term that we have encountered previously. Al-masdaru al-mu'awwal. So where we have a harfu al-masdaru, where we have a harfun that represents al-masdar, then we have an ismun that follows it, or a fi'lun, then we can extrapolate from those two parts it's al-masdaru al-mu'awwal, as we say. And that's probably easier to understand by way of example. If we say araftu, what does araftu mean? It means I knew. From arafa, it's a fi'lun madin mabniyun ala sakun litisali, because it's connected with ta, a ta al-fa'il or ta damir, which is the fa'il. Araftu annaka أنك عرفت أنك تذهب. تذهب. Right, first of all, what does this sentence mean? It means عرفت, I knew. أنك, أن, we know is حرف مشبه بالفعل. It's also حرف مصدري. It's also what we say a حرف which is المصدر. أنك, the kaf هنا is a ضمير المتصل that's connected to it. It's also اسم أن. تذهب is خبر أن. Right? But what does it mean? It means أنك تذهب, that you تذهب are going. The complete sentence is عرفت أنك تذهب, meaning I knew or I'm aware أنك تذهب, that you are going. So if you were going somewhere, for example, and I met you prior to your departure, I would say عرفت أنك تذهب. تذهب. عرفت أنك تذهب. I know that you're going. Now, what is this concept of al-masdaru al-mu'awwal? Well, if we were to extrapolate from أنك تذهب al-masdar, the root ismun that represents, what would it be? Or if we want to phrase it using an ismun, how would we represent أنك تذهب as an ismun? What would we say? We would say, which word would we use? We'd use al-masdaru of ذهب, which is, right, ذهابك. So we could phrase that as عرفت ذهابك. ذهابك. عرفت, actually that would then be ذهابك, because it would be the مفعول به. حسنا. عرفت is again, that's the same meaning, I know. ذهاب. So ذهاب here means going. Ka is ضمير متصل, you're going. So عرفت ذهابك in meaning is the same as عرفت أنك تذهب. عرفت أنك تذهب. So المصدر المؤول is ذهابك from أنك تذهب. Right? We will, inshallah ta'ala, dedicate a complete lesson to this principle of al-masdaru al-mu'awwal. But here, why did we mention it? To illustrate that the grammarians have grouped together as part of the different types of al-maf'ul bihi, al-masdaru al-mu'awwal. So, again, to repeat, أنك تذهب, that phrase, if we were to take al-masdar, its root form from it, by way of an ismun, it would be ذهابك. Similarly, if you say, we could use any fi'lun here, أنك تأكل. أنك تأكل. What does أنك تأكل mean? That you, تأكل, are eating. Right, so what is al-masdaru of تأكل? You have to think, right, so what's the root verb? It's akala, right? He ate. If we want to represent eating as an ismun, which ismun would we use? We'd use akalun. If we wanted then to say you're eating, it would be akluka. It would be akluka. Akluka, you're eating. So we could say araftu aklaka, and of course that would then be the maf'ulun bihi, and it would be araftu aklaka. I know that you are eating. So the point to note is that the fourth type of al-maf'ulu is what we call al-masdaru المؤول. That is what we are extracting al-masdaru from. أنك تذهب, in that instance it becomes ذهابك, and أنك تأكل in that instance becomes أكلك when it's obviously preceded by a fi'lun, which is why it's mansub. Now the other type of al-masdaru al-mu'awwalu that the grammarians have mentioned is, again, if we use this sentence and say عرفت أنك ذاهب. عرفت أنك ذاهب. Right, first of all, what does it mean? عرفت, it means I know. أنك, that you. ذاهب, ذاهب means going. Right, أنك ذاهب, that you are going. So أنك ذاهب therefore becomes al-maf'ulu bihi. It becomes al-maf'ulu bihi. Why? Because al-masdaru al-mu'awwal again is عرفت ذهابك. It becomes the same. ذهابك. عرفت ذهابك. That is what we call al-masdaru al-mu'awwal from that phrase أنك ذاهب. That means I know that you are going, and this means I know you're going. It's conveying the same meaning. Now, because that is a sentence in effect, isn't it? That is al-jumlatul fi'liyah. We can't say that here أنك ذاهب is mansubun. So we have to say, right, في محل نصب مفعول به. في محل نصب مفعول به. We hope inshallah that is clear. Again, as I said, we will inshallah ta'ala speak about this subject in more detail as a separate lesson. This is just to inform you that you can have that type of maf'ulun bihi as an object of a fi'lun such as araftu. What remains therefore is to explain, and I'm sure that you're probably already aware of this, that your maf'ulun bihi can be an entire sentence. It can be another sentence which is al-jumlatul fi'liyah, or it can be another sentence which is al-jumlatul ismiyah. We there just in effect demonstrated al-jumlatul ismiyah, comprising of al-mubtada and al-khabar, because anna enters upon al-jumlatul ismiyah. The point to remember, of course, is that when you have al-jumlatul fi'liyah or al-jumlatul ismiyah as your maf'ulun bihi, you cannot then say that that is mansubun. Rather, you have to say في محل نصب مفعول به. So we hope that is clear. This is the first type of maf'ulun that we wanted to speak about, and these are the different types. We shall conclude on that point. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك.